Today is Friday, May 14th, 2021. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, broadcasting live from the Turkey Leg Hut here in Houston, Texas. right here in the Trade, 3rd Ward, where Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner is going to be joining us. They're actually doing free COVID vaccine shots out here, so we'll be talking with him about that. We'll also be talking with Pastor Cosby, of course, who leads Willow Avenue Baptist Church, about gentrification and how they are staying in the hood to transform one of Houston's most historic black neighborhoods. Also, on today's show, authorities in South Carolina, they have released troubling, shocking, and stunning video of a black man killed by jail officials. The family, just a few moments ago, announced a settlement of $10 million with the city. Folks, we got to show you that. Plus, the San Diego Police Department, they're investigating two of its officers who were caught on tape while repeatedly punching a black man during an arrest. In Georgia, the state Supreme Court ruled that if police perform an unlawful arrest, the person being arrested can essentially fight back. Oh, yeah, we got to tell you about that. And in Mississippi, a court of appeals ruled that a 38-year-old black man must remain in prison to serve his life sentence for marijuana possession. That's the Jim Crow stuff happening in Mississippi. Also, we'll talk with Art Chang, who's running for mayor of New York City. Plus, a black Republican lieutenant governor candidate in Virginia says critical race theory is nonsense. So is she. And in our Education Matters segment, the state of Tennessee has said that Tennessee State University has been grossly underfunded by nearly $500 million. We'll give you those details. Folks, it is time to bring the funk. H-Town style on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
Folks, we are in Houston, Texas, of course, right here at the world-famous Turkey Leg Hut restaurant. Folks, it is one of the hottest restaurants in the city of Houston. As Corey goes on down the sidewalk here, we are on Alameda Road here in Houston, Texas, the 3rd Ward, known as the Trade. You'll see how packed this restaurant is. It is always packed 7 days a week. We're broadcasting live from out here because the city of Houston, they're actually doing free COVID-19 vaccine shots. We're going to be joined by the mayor of Houston, my alpha brother, Sylvester Turner, in today's show, and so we're looking forward to that. We'll also be joined by Pastor Marcus Cosby, who leads the historic Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church here in 3rd Ward, talking about the transformation they are undergoing with their new facility and how they're doing things differently here in 3rd Ward as well. And so we've been here since Wednesday, and so certainly glad to see all of you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Yes, I'm wearing my Jack Yates High School hat. Jack Yates, of course, not far from here in the historic 3rd Ward here in Houston, Texas. A lot of stuff, folks, that we want to cover on today's show. But first, we're going to open in South Carolina, where officials there released video late last night of a young black man named Jamal Sutherland, who was viciously beaten and killed by jail officials. This took place January 5th, 2021. He experienced a mental crisis in the sheriff's department. He died in the Al Cannon Detention Center a few hours after being arrested for what? A misdemeanor assault charge. So last night, the Charleston County Sheriff's Office released this video footage. Folks, let me warn you right now, it is shocking, it is disturbing, and this has led to a settlement with this family that was announced moments ago. We carried this live on Roland Martin Unfiltered, a settlement of $10 million. And so I'm going to hold 5 more seconds. If you want to turn away, please do so. But this is absolutely, folks, disturbing video. Control room, play it.
Hey, go on the ground. Get down, Sutherland. Get down.
Control first. 37E, SMU. 37E, SMU.
Turn on your stomach. Turn on your stomach. Turn on your stomach. Hold up. And you're going to get another one. Come to the door. Slide to the door. Slide to the door. Get on your stomach. Slide to the door. Stay on your stomach. I can't stand up. Stay on your stomach. Slide. Come to the door. I got it. Slide. Keep sliding. Keep sliding. Keep sliding.
I got it.
Keep sliding. Come on, Sutherland. Keep going. Keep coming. Sutherland.
Keep moving.
Keep sliding.
No, stay down.
And slide. Stay down and slide.
What's the meaning of this? What is
Come on.
Good. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Hey, turn over on your stomach.
Turn on your stomach.
Turn on your stomach.
Turn on your stomach.
Turn on your stomach.
For what?
Turn on your stomach.
As far as I'm turning.
Keep going.
Undo it, get everything, because we still got clothes.
As far as I'm turning. Just stop, I'm turning.
Do not resist.
I'm going to resist it all.
Stop, you still got clothes in you.
Loosen up. Loosen up.
Hey. Stop. Get another coat.
Deputy Dawson, the Deputy Farage.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait a minute. Where's that one?
The mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, Mayor Keith Summy, released a video Wednesday detailing the role that the Charleston Police Department played in the arrest of Sutherland. Watch this.
It is with great sadness that I speak to you about the death of Jamal Sutherland. Like many of you, I have seen the recent news coverage and believe it is in the community's best interest to understand what happened. While the city's involvement ended the day prior to Jamal's passing, I can at least shed light on the city of North Charleston's interactions. Jamal died at the Charleston County Jail on January the 5th, 2021, a day after North Charleston released him into the custody of the Sheriff's Department. I know that Sheriff Graziano is reviewing her staff's involvement. North Charleston's review is obviously centered on the actions of the North Charleston police officers. Our police department's encounter with Jamal ended the previous day when we turned him over safe to the jail staff. Nonetheless, I want the people of North Charleston to see how our officers treated Jamal and understand why he was taken into custody. Charleston County 911 dispatched officers from our department to Palmetto Behavioral Health on the evening of January 4th. Officers were told that a large-scale fight had erupted among patients and that staff urgently needed help from law enforcement. I want you to hear this for yourself so you can understand why North Charleston Police Department responded. Here are the first moments of the call made to dispatch.
911. Hi. There you are. Hi. It's 2777 Bicyger Drive. North Charleston, 29405.
Tell me exactly what happened.
We have committed patients in the psychiatric hospital. One has assaulted several patients, and they're asking to press charges, and now he's trying to assault more people.
In a later clip, you hear Palmetto staff report that people are in danger and hear the situation inside Palmetto start to deteriorate.
Are you anyone else in danger right now?
Several people are in danger right now.
Yes, ma'am. What's going on now, Alyssa?
Another patient has come to this unit and is trying to fight other patients. We need stat. We need help.
Yes, ma'am. So it's 2 patients that's fighting right now?
Several patients are fighting right now.
Yes, ma'am. We do have a responder en route, okay?
Shortly thereafter, the scene becomes even more chaotic.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we've separated the 2 primary patients, but I don't know how long it will last. He's very big.
Okay.
We have about 8 staff trying to hold him back. Whoa! Okay, so he's assaulted a staff member now. He needs to go. Oh, he's assaulting another staff member. Get in! Help Philip! Help Philip! Please help Philip! We need, oh my God, please, we need help. He just beat the out of Philip. Hey, we need help over here if anybody can spare it. Anna, don't worry about it. Stay back. Philip, come back. Philip just got the kicked out of him.
That's one of the staff members?
Yeah, go outside and sit down right there. Philip, if you see the police, just wave them. They're taking 2 patients. They're taking at least both of these patients to jail.
Yes, ma'am. How many people have been injured? Do you need
5 or
EMS?
6, 7, 8, probably 10. We probably need EMS.
Given the mass fight that had just occurred inside Palmetto, leaving Jamal at Palmetto or taking him to some other unsecured facility was not a safe option for patients or staff. North Charleston Police had a responsibility to deliver Jamal safely from Palmetto to the jail. That is exactly what they did. Prior to transporting Jamal to jail, our officers took the time to ask all the questions that you would want them to ask. They talked to Palmetto's behavioral staff to understand exactly what had happened.
That Jamal guy tried to come across the unit, so we had a code with him. We got him kind of like calmed down, and then lo and behold, he started punching people on the other unit. Yeah, he got one guy twice real good in the face. We tried to break him up. We got him kind of over to the corner, and another patient was trying to take up for one of the patients that got hit, so he popped him in the face twice.
They also specifically asked about whether the victims wanted to have Jamal arrested or prosecuted. Of key importance here, recognizing that Jamal had mental issues and was in custody of Palmetto Behavioral Health, our officers specifically asked both Palmetto and Charleston County EMS if it was appropriate for Jamal to be taken to the jail. This is what North Charleston Police Department was told by Palmetto.
So Jamal came across the counter and threw the fax machine, all that kind of stuff. When we finally got him kind of contained, and then one of our staff members tried to get Jamal kind of hold him, and he went at him and attacked him. So it was freaking chaos. It was one thing happened, and then something else happened, and then something else happened.
So the people who got punched, are they staff members?
2 of them are patients. One hit 2 patients. Jamal assaulted a staff member.
Okay, staff want to press charges?
I think so.
And we got to see the patients want to go
2 patients, and they're pretty adamant about wanting to press charges. So I can get their addresses for you if that's what you need.
We need all their information, and we need to know. We need to talk to them. We need to make sure they want to press charges.
And by Charleston County EMS.
Yeah, because he just told me to get F out of his face. He doesn't want to talk to me. Please don't hit that. Yeah. Are those court committals or anything, or?
He's committed. I imagine that Jamal is committed as well.
Okay.
So I think, yeah.
So how does that work, Chief? So if they're on papers, how does that work to go to the jail?
They can go to the jail. They just have to stay in custody of somebody, and that's where the issue lies. Is they have the ultimate say because they've been put into their care in terms of for medical treatment.
Yeah.
So if they wanted them transported someplace, they have to make sure it's set up with whatever facility that they're going to accept them if they went to the hospital. But as long as they're in police custody one way or another, then they're covered because they're a committal of the court, so they're still in somebody's custody. Okay. We just can't let them walk out or let them go whatever hospital they want to go to.
As you hear, Palmetto and Charleston County EMS indicated that jail was an appropriate destination. Our officers transported him there. It is worth noting that Charleston County Jail has dedicated medical facilities on site for inmates. In fact, you will see in the next clip that a jail nurse was already in the intake area at the time our officers brought Jamal in.
Let go!
Relax.
Let go of me!
All right,
now!
All right.
I need my vaccine!
All right.
Let go of me!
Told you.
I'm nobody's token but God, but the Illuminati is after me because I'm talented, something you not. That's why you working here.
Staying at the wall. Thank you.
It's a real serious matter. The elite been watching me. They probably flying over this fucking jail right now.
You gotta stay by the wall, man. Please.
Have fun.
Thank you.
You'll see that when our officers last had Jamal in sight, he was healthy and being accompanied by a nurse as he went into the jail. It brings me sorrow to know that Jamal passed away the following day on January the 5th. But I am relieved that video and audio exist to let us see the respect and patience that North Charleston police officers displayed that night. While Jamal's family continues to grieve his passing, I hope our recordings of the interaction gives the family and the community confidence in the way we conducted ourselves.
The family of Jamal Sutherland also made a public statement, and here's what they had to say with the release of last night's video.
I'd like to thank the leadership in our state that's come out to help. I appreciate everyone. But what I want to say is that because of some things that are being put out, I feel like Jamal died yesterday. We were at a point where our hearts were content that Jamal was in heaven. But we have people now saying and doing things that they should not be doing because they're not aware of the situation. I'm gonna tell you about my son Jamal. Jamal was the second of our 3 kids. He was a man of God. We had a cousin of mine go in his room and she goes, why he has so many religious books? Because he wanted to learn about God. Mental illness does not give anybody the right to put their hands on my child. That's my child. I love my child. His brother and his fathers, they love Jamal. Jamal was good. I had 16 surgeries. Jamal never left my side. Even when he was going to the mental hospital, he wanted to make sure that his mom was all right. And I asked God to please have mercy on some of these people that are doing things that aren't right for a family that's grieving. Jamal's body is not an invitation for a circus. When you view these tapes, remember, he is a human being. He's not an animal. He was treated like one, but that's not who Jamal was. Jamal gave away everything he had. He would do anything for people. Jamal was a great, great, great son. He loved his father, and he told his father how much he loved him. He has 2 brothers. He loved his brothers. Jamal would give you the clothes off of his back because that's how I trained all of my children. Jamal was an example of what I wanted him to be. He died And when he was being tased, pepper sprayed, he's hollering, hallelujah. If you don't hear what the tape is saying, my son's saying, hallelujah. They're handcuffing my son. He's hollering, hallelujah. How many men you know hollering hallelujah when they're going to jail? Jamal had enough sense to say, you didn't read me my rights. He may have been mentally ill, but he was brilliant. Jamal made music and gave it away. Jamal was an example of what we should want all our young men to be. Black, white, purple, or green. I'm not going to stand before anybody and say anything that I don't know for sure, and I ask you to do the same. Respect my family. Know that hurt has not gone away. It's still in us. We waited patiently. We waited for the tape to be released. People are saying that we didn't want to speak. I wanted to speak the day he died. But I can tell you something I didn't know. I did not know. Now that I know, how my baby died, I'm proud of him. Mentally ill, still able to say, thank you, Jesus, take care of me. I want y'all to know, Jamal was a great man. He had faults like everybody else, but he was a great man. And I just want you to know that. If I could bring him back, I'd leave. I would leave this earth for Jamal to come back to me. I cried so many days, come back. He's not coming back. And I'm content that God has Jamal in his arms. So please, don't make a circus of my baby's death. I don't need people out here reading lies. I don't need that. You destroy families when you do that. If you don't know, you are destroying the inside of us. You don't know, but you're telling somebody else about it. Please keep your conversations to what you know. I don't want any violence in my city. I want us to view this tape, and I want us to learn what we don't want happening again. I ask no violence. White, purple, green. We have black men being killed every day. I mean every day. I didn't want to watch it, and Jamal didn't watch it. Because it hurt our souls. Please, no more hurt from media parties, because they don't know him. And if you don't know him, please don't speak of him, because he was a great man. That was a great man, and I'm going to leave you with that. Jamal Sutherland was a great man. And there are some people that know they need to do things, and they're not doing it. So I ask those of you who knew your part in my son's murder to do the right thing. Please do the right thing. Thank you.
All right, folks, man, that's quite emotional there. Let's go to my panel. D. Hawkins-Hagler, former Georgia State Representative. Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network. And Brittany Lee Lewis, political analyst. D, I want to start with you. Obviously, extremely emotional. You clearly saw the folks in Charleston. They knew that this was going to be a devastating video. Everything I heard last night from people, they said this is going to be ugly. They're concerned about protest. There's a PGA tournament in Charleston, South Carolina on next week. And folks there are bracing themselves for a weekend of protest.
Roland, that was absolutely heartbreaking. After watching that video, and I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't want to watch it the first time, but I did watch it this time when you showed it. It literally was just heartbreaking. And I know I grew up around mental illness. My mother was a psychiatric nurse for many years. And during that time, there was a way that you could restrain people who were having psychotic breaks. And I don't think that the behavior system in Charleston nor the police department handled this the right way. Even if they thought he was a threat, they could have taken him, if necessary, to another facility, even to a hospital for a 48 or 72-hour stay. I don't know what happened right here, but they didn't want us to see the final version because they knew that the public would be outraged. And so my heart just goes out to the family. And enough is enough. We have got to stop killing black men like
The thing here, Brittany, and this is what we talk about here. Here's a young man arrested on a misdemeanor charge. Now you talk about mental illness. We keep going over this over and over and over again. This is what happens when you have to confront law enforcement when they deal with people who are mentally ill. He's now dead.
Absolutely, Roland, and it's unfortunate that we continue to run into these issues time and time again. And the fact is that individuals with mental illness are vastly overrepresented in every corner of the criminal justice system. And until we reform the public policies that have literally abandoned them there, these tragic outcomes will continue. You know, statistically speaking, people with untreated mental illness are 16 times more likely to be killed during a police encounter than others. You know, quite frankly, I believe this is just one of the many examples demonstrating yet again that we need to not only defund the police, but allocate that money to training professionals that solely deal with these type of situations. Having a mental health breakdown, having a mental health crisis should not be an automatic death sentence. You know, and if we can't do that, we need to at least reduce the number of encounters between on-duty law enforcement and individuals with the most severe psychiatric diseases.
You know, the thing, Michael, we talk about this all the time. Here we are in Houston, and we were at the Pamela Turner rally yesterday. Black woman, Baytown, Texas, 2 years ago, shot and killed 5 times by a cop, having a mental breakdown. And at some point, mayors, county officials, state leaders, congressional leaders are going to have to come to grips with the problem of a mental illness and law enforcement that is too combustible. There are too many people who are ending up dead who are having mental breakdowns. I still think about Kajima Powell, the brother who was killed 2 weeks after Michael Brown. Same thing. It was 16 seconds from the moment the cops showed up and shots were fired and he was dead.
Yeah, you know, Roland, we see this time and time again, and you know, I definitely agree. In many of these, it was approximately 18,500 police departments across the country, and in many of these police departments, you're going to have to reduce the responsibilities and reallocate resources. And mental health is one of the areas that resources need to go into. Mental health, education, different things like this that will overall reduce poverty, but also reduce crime. But in reviewing this case here, well, number one, Jamal Sutherland was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia in his teens, so he was receiving treatment. But the pathologist says that the cause of death or the manner of death was undetermined. I kind of find that strange. How did he actually die? In reading this, the pathologist said the manner of death was undetermined. And then also, I watched the entire video and the presentation from Mayor Summey. Did the officers involved in arresting Jamal, did the officers have any mental health training? Because he's having a mental breakdown. And did they have any? I'm trying to find out. Did they have any mental health training as well? So you know, this is a troubling case for a number of different reasons.
It certainly is, and it is beyond sad. We're going to be watching to see what happens this weekend, if you're going to see protests there. Again, folks in Charleston are concerned. Look, folks, they always want the positive attention of a PGA tournament next week, but the bottom line is this is a young man who's dead. They got to pay out $10 million. And, folks, let me remind you, remember, we're talking about North Charleston. This is the same place where Michael Slager shot and killed Walter Scott. Slager's now sitting in prison. And so another just shameful story that we have to cover. Let's go to San Diego, the San Diego Police Department, folks. They have launched an internal investigation after video was shown of 2 officers repeatedly punching a black man during an arrest this week.
Stop!
Now, according to the department, folks, this all began when the officers saw this man urinating in public. They detained him when he did not respond to them and booked him on jail on charges of resisting arrest and battery of a police officer. I mean, again, Brittany, see, this is the thing that every time we do one of these stories, the first thing you say is, how did it all start?
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw a guy urinating in public. Or a misdemeanor charge, or you pull somebody over for a traffic light. I mean, this is what people are talking about, how you have to have police who de-escalate and not escalate.
Roland, you hit the nail on the head. I'm thinking about how this started for urinating. They didn't try to de-escalate the situation whatsoever. And that man didn't go out looking for a problem with them or looking to harm those officers. Yet he ended up brutalized and then in prison. Now, Roland, I went to Temple University for undergrad, and folks loved to party there. There used to be white frat parties every night, and those same frat bros would go right outside on Broad Street and urinate for everyone to see, oftentimes underage with their beers still in hand. And you and I both know that this would not have happened to one of them. So what's exhausting is that this isn't about urinating in public. It's about a constant criminalization of the homeless. And at the end of the day, the homeless are a part of our community too. So the police, if they're truly to be protecting and serving, should be protecting and serving the homeless as well, because they're a part of our community. And I just feel like, can you imagine what our world would be like if the police just helped this man instead of actually harming him?
Michael, again, this is the thing that what people are demanding. They're demanding real accountability, and you got to have cops who know, again, not to escalate, who understand that. And there are examples of it, but the problem is, there's too many tough guys who are walking around with badges and guns who don't like it when someone questions their authority, and then they know, oh, I can beat the hell out of them, and I'm going to get commended.
Yeah, especially when it's someone who appears to be homeless as well. When it appears to be somebody who's marginalized, has less resources, you feel that they have less recourse to retaliate against you. They don't know the mayor. They don't play golf with the police chief. Things like this, right? You have things like this to take place. But for it to start from urinating in public, and then when the officers questioned him, he would not stop. Therefore, when the officers held him to detain him, it's just to escalate to something like this. I'm like, how many white people do you all stop because they're urinating in public? Okay, I know if they have the country music festival or the hold down or things like this, like we have here in Detroit. I know you have white people urinating in public. I've seen them do it here in Detroit. So, once again, this is an example why some people don't need to be police as well. Something like this is ridiculous to escalate from urinating in public. This doesn't make any sense.
D?
I concur with everyone. This behavior was absolutely criminal, what they did to this homeless man. And it just speaks to why so many of us around this country want to reform policing. I mean, it needs to go from an area of policing to public safety. And was he doing anything that was going to stop the public from being safe? No, he needed to use the restroom. And he's homeless. And many homeless people also deal with mental illness, which all these things are tied together. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. And this is why we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we need to have real conversations in our state legislatures, in our municipal governments, about how we deal with policing and make them do the right thing, and stop just every week going through this over and over. It's a cycle. It's you know what? It's overrated. It's too much, and it's enough. We got to stop. This is too much. They need to go to jail. Both of them.
Folks, let's talk about this story here that I don't know how this is going to go well, but it may cause some problems. The Georgia Supreme Court, they have ruled that if police perform an unlawful arrest, the person being arrested can essentially fight back. The ruling stems from an Athens man named Christopher Glenn, who was unlawfully arrested in 2018. Police arrested him while he was walking home because they received a call someone was loitering. Glenn wasn't. When officers attempted to arrest him, Glenn head-butted one of the officers and got on top of another. His case went all the way to the Georgia Supreme Court, where, based on English laws from the 1700s, the judges ruled that Glenn was within his rights to fight back because he was unlawfully detained. The ruling could have a significant impact on how unlawful arrest cases are defended in Georgia. I'm not necessarily, Brittany, going to recommend black folks try this one. I don't know if Christopher's white or black, but I'm just saying, first of all, determining what's unlawful, what isn't. I'm just saying I'm going to be a little careful with this one if I'm black in Georgia.
Exactly.
Roland, that was my first thought. I'm like, who's Glenn? Is Glenn white or black? Because, the situation just wouldn't go down like that with us. I love the idea of us being able to exercise our constitutional rights and legally resist if we're allowed to. However, Lord knows we watch white folks resist every day, whether it's law or not. But we know with us, black folks, unfortunately, we lose our lives on a regular basis when we're complying. So I'm certainly not going to tell us to go out here and start resisting arrest because we know we're being illegally detained. I wish we could do what the law said we should be able to do, but we know that's not how it works with us.
Well, and I want to say this here, D. Look, I know Georgia Supreme Court made this ruling, but you got to start first with who the hell decides what's unlawful or not.
Exactly. And since I live in Georgia, I can assure you, if they try to arrest me, I'm going to go to jail and deal with it on the back end because they would kill my black behind. So I just need everybody not to pay that any attention. And now that it is being out in the public, I can assure you the Georgia General Assembly is going to go back in and rescind that law because they not want black people trying to resist being arrested. Watch what happens.
Yeah, Michael, I'm just saying, I'm going to warn everybody black, brothers and sisters in Georgia, y'all might want to ignore the Supreme Court ruling. I don't think this one applies to us.
Brother,
I'm not trying to do another story of somebody black who's killed.
I need to brush up on my law in England in the 1700s, but reading this, Roland, not only does it say that in this case here, that not only did the Georgia Supreme Court rule that Glenn was within his rights to resist the unlawful arrest, but they also ruled that he could also damage government property while doing so. Black people, don't try this at home. I'm telling you right now. And the other gray area is, okay, how do you determine what an unlawful arrest is? Because certain things that we see and we say this is unlawful, but when you get to court, it may not be unlawful. So, at the very least, we need more clarification on this.
Up and down.
But, and I want to know I want to know the ethnicity, the race of Glenn, because I think he's white. I don't think this. I don't think this was meant for us. Keep in mind, Georgia is the state that has the largest Confederate monument in this country. It's called Stone Mountain. Okay, I don't think this was meant for us.
Like I say, I'm trying to check right now to see, but I don't think Christopher Glenn is a brother, so we'll see. Let me talk about this case out of Mississippi. And if y'all want to understand why Mississippi is so backwards, this explains it. A court of appeals in Mississippi has ruled that a 38-year-old black man must remain in prison to serve his life sentence for marijuana possession. This week, Alan Russell argued on appeal that the length of his sentence constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. He was sentenced to life in prison in 2019 after a jury convicted him of possessing more than 30 grams of marijuana. Since Russell pleaded guilty to burglary in 2004 and has a possession of a firearm charge, he's considered a violent habitual offender in Mississippi. And under Mississippi law, a person convicted of 2 separate felonies, at least one of which is violent, and who serves at least 1 year in prison for each of those felony convictions shall be sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility for probation or parole. This was a similar thing that happened in Louisiana where they had that same law, and the ruling was made there as well. And this is one of those things. This goes back to Jim Crow days. Mississippi and Louisiana having these type of laws that were specifically targeting black people. And this is, if Mississippi wants to understand why they broke as hell and why businesses don't want to move there, It's silly laws like this here that you will spend that much money to imprison a 38-year-old man for life for marijuana possession.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, especially let's just look at the whole totality of everything. Marijuana is going to be legalized in this country. So you already have this man serving time for, robbery, which was not a deadly violent law, correct? Because I'm reading right. And then now, because he had marijuana, I mean, really, I'm telling you, this whole system in this country needs to be reformed, because many people, if you go to their house, they might be having about 30 grams of marijuana, depending on where you are, growing in the backyard right now, because once hemp became legal, now people are doing THC. And I think this is crazy, and it's targeted towards Black people, because we all know that cocaine never had this type of potential. And had he used any other type of drugs, he probably wouldn't even be in jail, because any drugs that white people typically use have not been criminalized to that extent, only Black people.
Well, and the thing here, Brittany, if you are Mississippi, what y'all should be doing, y'all should be trying to sit here and get in the marijuana business, because the state's broke. They get more federal money than any other state in the country. They need to be trying to get in on the billions in the marijuana business.
Absolutely, Roland. The Mississippi is ass backwards. I mean, when we think about this, I feel awful for this gentleman, because quite frankly, it is cruel and unusual punishment. And we know this law isn't about fairness. It's about power. And, marijuana is going to be made legal for everyone nationally. We have 16 states that have legalized recreational marijuana, and we have 36 states that have legalized it for medical use. We have dispensaries that are running like Apple stores, and we have white women on a daily basis talking about how they smoke their weed in order to help with their parenting duties at home regularly. So the simple fact that this man is looking at a life sentence over some marijuana charge and a burglary charge that he's already done time for is absolutely ridiculous and unfair. And I hope Mississippi gets its act together.
Well, Michael, bottom line is this here. Mississippi is a Jim Crow state. They just took the Confederate flag off of their state flag. Look, there are a lot of folks I love in Mississippi. I got lots of fans there, but it's a damn shame what continues to happen in that state.
Well, Roland, this also deals with the importance of state legislatures, because it was the state legislature in 2014 that changed the law in the state that allowed this to happen. See, we're being attacked by the state legislatures. We see this with voting rights and 361 voter restriction bills in 47 state legislatures. But all different types of bills like this. We see what's going on with critical race theory, which I know we're going to talk about, and different states banning that, even though there's no widespread effort to institute critical race theory teaching in schools and et cetera. So, but this is crazy, man. And we have to understand, brother, Mississippi, this is the state that had the largest number of lynchings from 1882 to 1968. There's something like 581 lynchings in Mississippi. So once again, this deals with the importance of understanding the state legislature and putting the right people in the state legislature to change these laws like this as well. But if marijuana becomes legal in the state of Mississippi, man, this brother should be released from prison also.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though. This is also, look, Mississippi has the largest number of Black elected officials in the country, the largest percentage of African Americans in the country, and it is an oppressive state for African Americans. Folks, let's talk about oppressive. The Republican Party, they continue to try to deny women of color when it comes to serving the Department of Justice. Kristen Clark, who was being nominated by President Joe Biden to run the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, did not get any Republican votes in the Senate Judiciary Committee. It went 11-11. It now goes onto the full floor. Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democrat, the majority leader, said is going to be advancing her nomination. If confirmed, she would be the first Black woman ever to be confirmed for the position. No word on whether or not Senator Joe Manchin is going to vote for her, if any Republicans are going to vote for her as well. And so Republicans continue to criticize her for her record. They also claim her editorial in Newsweek, I prosecuted police killings, defund the police, but be strategic, advocated abolishing the police. In fact, she's actually talked about reforming the police and said the magazine selected the headline, not her. And so we'll be watching to see if Senator Chuck Schumer sends her nomination to the full floor for them to vote. Now, the thing that we've been watching also, folks, are these Republicans who want to completely act like January 6th never happened. The Republicans and the Democrats have agreed to create a special committee similar to the 9/11 committee that will investigate what took place on January 6th. But here's the problem with that. The problem is there's going to be a Democratic chair, Republican vice chair. They have to agree on issuing subpoenas. Well, hell, the Republicans don't agree. We know exactly what the problems are going to be. We know what took place. Republicans led an insurrection of the U.S. Capitol because they did not want President Joe Biden to be confirmed as president of the United States. If y'all want to see how stuck on stupid these people are, listen to Andrew Clyde, this idiot from D state of Georgia. Y'all, he actually said this during the congressional hearing. So we're going to play this for you, folks. So we're going to play it for you of what he had to say, where he acted as if the insurrection was a walk in the park and folks were just chilling and relaxing and everything was wonderful. And so let me know when y'all have the video. D, I'll go to you before we play the clip from Andrew Clyde. I mean, look, does Georgia have a corner on crazy members? You got this dude, Andrew Clyde. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, it has to be a consistent embarrassment for folks in Georgia to have these idiots in Congress.
I am like my grandmother used to say, I'm so ashamed. Sometimes I just hate to tell people I'm from Georgia, between suppressing voting rights and people trying to be revisionists of history, until March 13 and then, K&I. I don't even know what to do with all these wiped out people that are in Georgia. It's really quite embarrassing. And this is why we have to change all of the leadership from the top to the bottom, congressional and every constitutional officer in Georgia needs to go, because they're all white, crazy behind Republicans, and this is what you get every single time that they are at the forefront. Because everyone can clearly see. So they're basically saying what your lying eyes have shown you. Oh no, it was just a tourist visit. Oh no, I don't know what y'all saw. They were just coming by to check out their, nation's capital. Lies, all lies, and the liars who tell them.
Again, I mean, look, we've been sitting here listening to these crazies, and they are indeed crazy. It makes no sense to me whatsoever to listen to how fanatical and silly these folks are. And like I say, this guy, Andrew Clyde, I mean, you talking about just shaking the head. And so we got the clip. Let's play it.
It's called the Capitol insurrection. Let's be honest with the American people. It was not an insurrection, and we cannot call it that and be truthful. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines an insurrection as, and I quote, an organized attempt by a group of people to defeat their government and take control of their country, usually by violence. And then from the Century Dictionary, the act of rising against civil authority or governmental restraint, specifically the armed resistance of a number of persons to the power of the state. As one of the members who stayed in the Capitol and on the House floor, who, with other Republican colleagues, helped barricade the door until almost 3 p.m. that day from the mob who tried to enter, I can tell you the House floor was never breached, and it was not an insurrection. This is the truth. There was an undisciplined mob. There were some rioters and some who committed acts of vandalism. But let me be clear, there was no insurrection, and to call it an insurrection, in my opinion, is a bold-faced lie. Watching the TV footage of those who entered the Capitol and walked through Statuary Hall showed people in an orderly fashion staying between the stanchions and ropes, taking videos and pictures. You know, if you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit. There were no firearms confiscated from anyone who breached the Capitol. Also, the only shot fired on January the 6th was from a Capitol police officer who killed an unarmed protester, Ashley Babbitt, in what will probably eventually be determined to be a needless display of lethal force.
Camera up.
This hearing is called the
Here's how Democrats responded to that fool. Congressman Jim McGovern of Massachusetts says, I was there that day representing Clyde, presiding over the House chamber while we were being evacuated. I saw people punching the glass doors with bare fists to get in, desecrating America's capital to obstruct Congress. Calling it a normal tourist visit is sickening. Shame on you. Congressman Don Beyer from Virginia, a normal tourist visit? Police officers who responded on January 6th were stabbed, gouged, beaten, suffered broken ribs. Y'all should be pulling these tweets up. And three are no longer with us. Republican leaders defend this kind of lying while they punish those few with the courage to tell the truth. It's despicable. Congressman Catherine Clark, Republicans aren't just trying to rewrite history. They're telling you not to believe your eyes or trust what you saw. Look at the videos. Listen to the staff and officers. Read the death certificates. The insurrection was anything but normal, and it won't be erased. Folks, how crazy this is? Clyde was attending an event honoring police officers and was asked to clarify his statements about what he says didn't happen on January 6th. He said this. Okay, I don't know. We should have the soundbite there. Brittany, these folks are liars. I keep saying that if they're going to lie about this here, any Republican who lies about January 6th should be defeated in next year in 2022. You cannot trust any of these people in leadership. They need to be defeated. On a state level, federal level, they all should be voted out of office.
Roland, we have to get them out because I don't know what in the cognitive dissonance is going on, but we all know what we saw. The insurrection on January 6th was on the front page of every newspaper worldwide because it was not just some normal tourist visit. That's not what makes international headlines. This was crazy. There was nooses. People were injured. Someone did die. Several folks have been indicted on serious federal charges. I mean, but you know what? I'm actually not surprised by Representative Clyburn's remarks, knowing that he was one of the 126 Republican members to contest the election results. That's his game. He also was one of the 12 Republicans in the House who voted against H.R. 1085 to award those congressional gold medals to the United States Capitol Police who protected the U.S. Capitol when it happened. So, I mean, he's got to stick to what he knows. Or what he's pretending to know anyway.
Look, it makes no sense to me, Michael. But again, these people, you cannot trust any of them in leadership. And for the folks who say voting doesn't matter, we got to vote every single one of these idiots out because they are acting as if what happened on January 6th was no big deal. And if that's the case, they absolutely, if they take control of the House by 2024, they will try to steal the election. That will happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. You know, white supremacy is a powerful drug, Roland. You're dealing with the white nationalist party. This is exactly who they are. The hoods have come. All the hoods have come off. This is the white nationalist party, and there were approximately 140 police officers that were injured that day, January 6th, the day of the insurrection. So for Representative Andrew Clyde of Georgia, once again, Georgia has the largest Confederate monument in this country. Okay, for him to say that if you didn't know it was from January 6th, you think it was a normal tourist video. I would call it a terrorist video. You're close. It's not a tourist video. It looked like a terrorist video. Okay, and so this is another example why elections have consequences, and all these traitors have to be voted out of office because if you look at the policies that they're advocating for, they're detrimental to African Americans and many non-white people. Okay, they're detrimental to us. You just look at about 30 of them they're trying to get 2 bills passed in the House of Representatives to target critical race theory and things like the 1619 Project. They unveiled that on Wednesday. Now they're going to be defeated in the House, luckily because Democrats are in control. But what happens if Republicans win in the House in the 2022 midterm election? So yeah, brother, we're dealing with the crazies. This is the QAnon white nationalist party. We're dealing with the crazies.
And that's why folks absolutely have to vote. Panel, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Dee Dee, Brittany, and Michael, thank you so very much. Folks, got to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be chatting with this man right here. He is the mayor of the city of Houston. He's going to be joining us next. We'll also be talking with a mayoral candidate out of New York City, Art Chang. He'll be joining us as well. We are broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, here at the Turkey Leg Hut. It is jam-packed as always, and so this is Roland Martin Unfiltered. Always glad to be back home in H-Town, and we'll bring it to you folks. We'll be back in a moment.
say that as of January 20th, that President Trump will be president.
That depends on what happens on Wednesday.
President Trump won this election. Do you think the election was stolen?
Absolutely. At this point, we do not know who has prevailed in the election.
This fraud was systemic, and I dare say it was effective.
This is a contested election.
President Trump won by a landslide.
Hold them this way.
The outcome of our presidential election was seized from the hands of voters.
We have to make sure that they look into what has been the theft of this presidential election.
Joe Biden lost and President Trump won.
Whatever happens to President Trump, he is still the elected president.
I would love to see this election overturned.
No one believes that this guy got 80 million votes. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right.
No ragtag group of liberal activists will be allowed to steal this election.
The president wasn't defeated by huge numbers. In fact, he may not have been defeated at all.
Over the next 10 days, we get to see the ballots that are fraudulent, and if we're wrong, we will be made fools of.
Black women are fierce, brilliant, courageous, dope.
Black women are making a difference, making history, and changing the world.
I think about all of the Black women who have showed up to fight for justice.
We are starting to finally accept all the skills and talents a woman can bring to the table.
Urban One, thank you. This one is so special.
Riddle.
What's up, y'all? I'm Will Packer.
I'm Chrisette Michelle.
Hi, I'm Chaley Rose, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, y'all. We're here at the Turkey Leg Hut, and so we're back live. We were taking a photo here first, so my brother Reginald stepped over here. Then we were taking a picture of the mayor. He's an alpha. Then of course, then Paul. We got Pastor Cosby. So it's alphas all over the joint. So we just want to let y'all know how we roll. For the rest of y'all out there who couldn't get in, that ain't our problem. That ain't our problem. So I want to let y'all know that ain't our problem, but it's all good. And so, okay, y'all got to go now. I got to interview the mayor. Yeah, y'all got to go now. Y'all got on. Y'all got on, huh? Girl, you better go on over there with that me stuff. This an alpha thing. Go on over there with that stuff. Y'all, we are here in my hometown of Houston. We're joined right now by the mayor of Houston in his second term, Sylvester Turner. Doc, how you doing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to see you here.
Hey, man, welcome back to your hometown.
It's always good to be back home in the Trey in 3rd Ward. We're here, and so we were trying to get you on Wednesday, and then when Mary said, hey, y'all were going to be here doing COVID vaccine shots,
man.
I said, well, let's go ahead and do the show here.
Look, we brought the mobile unit to where the traffic is, and instead of the big setups where you have a lot of staff there waiting for people to come, we decided to come to the Turkey Leg Hut where there's plenty of traffic, make it real accessible to people. People are getting vaccinated. You bring it to them to where they are. And then, quite frankly, their peers help to encourage people to get vaccinated.
Well, see, this is about to trip you out. So my company, we've actually put in proposals with several states. Texas was one of them. Maryland. We were trying to tell HHS. We were trying to tell others as well. This is how to do it. And, they kept sitting here. Doing what they normally did. And we were like, folks, I'm trying to tell y'all.
It works.
I said, we can do, like, this literal setup. We should explain them. We can do live broadcasts from places, do COVID shots, all sorts of different stuff along those lines. And they were so hard-headed. And then when they hit that wall a few weeks ago, I sent an email to HHS saying, look, we tried to tell y'all.
It works. You go to where the people are.
Right.
So we're going to the restaurants, man. I'm going to the clubs and the bars with my mobile units. You go to where the people are, and people are getting vaccinated.
Right.
And then the owner is graciously giving a discount on their meals and stuff. So and we're talking about young folk, brothers and sisters who are saying, okay, you're here. We're going to get vaccinated. We'll wait the 15 minutes, and then we'll get right back into the line and get our food.
And the thing is, look, there are a lot of people, and the point that I've been saying to folks is that early on it was like, oh, black people don't want to take it. No, it's the white Republicans don't want to take it.
Right.
Black folks, the problem was they didn't know how to access it.
Absolutely.
My CFO is Chicago. She said she went to a Walmart on a deep south side of Chicago. She said it was 200 folks in line, 10 black people. She said, now these white folks ain't never at this Walmart. She was like, so, but again, how the system was set up, and this is where, again, for the folks who are in power, listen to people who know how to reach people.
Who've been out on the streets, on the grounds, on the front lines. Look, you're being here, you're attracting folk already here. And people say, hey, this is cool. Y'all coming out, y'all coming to where we are. We like that. We like that. And then people, they will stop, be vaccinated.
That's right.
And go on right about their business.
That's right.
They're safer, we're safer. And then they're going spreading the word. Hey, they at the turkey leg hut. Go on down and get a turkey leg and get the shot at the same time. And they putting a discount on the meal. You can't
beat that.
You can't beat it,
Can't
man.
beat that. Let's talk about you're in your second term, and this restaurant is a perfect example. First of all, this entire corridor here. Yeah. I'm born and raised here, and I remember where that was nothing, down here on Alameda. But before I was born, Alameda was the drag strip for African Americans. And so now all of a sudden you see this resurgence, but this is a black-owned establishment.
Yes.
And you're seeing other black-owned places as well. And that's important because this was land that, frankly, white folks did not want to come near, didn't want to live anywhere. And so it's important that we stay where we are, but also become business owners and investing in the area. And cities partner to keep these black entrepreneurs to build the capacity.
And you see what's happening. This restaurant has attracted a lot of activity. The overflow is benefiting other businesses. And now other black-owned businesses that were here, they are starting to thrive even more. And then other entrepreneurs are coming into the area. And now the Alameda corridor is now dynamic, it's alive and well. And basically what we're trying to do now is provide more parking, okay, or encouraging people to take advantage of the Ubers and the Lyfts and all of that. But this is a dynamic corridor. 6 years ago, Roland, as you know,
right,
you come down Alameda.
Yeah, actually, about 5 or 6 years ago, there's a sports bar that's a little bit further down here.
Right.
And it was one of the few places. I came back from my high school. We came back, and I came down, and it was one of the few places that was open. It was pretty much by itself. And so then coming back home each time, it's kind of like, wow, this spot. And now when I come home and back, Anthony and I, we were driving around last night, I was like, where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? And again, it's about creating opportunities, because the thing is here, and Houston is a city that a lot of people stepped up. Everybody talks about Atlanta.
Right.
And I remember years ago, Black Enterprise did a cover story on Houston, right. And there were like 700,000 plus African Americans, TSU, Prairie View, right. 50 miles down the road. And so black folks grow up here, go to college here, stay home here. Now you have multi-generations building the city.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, I just want the rest of the world to know and the business community to know there are more black folk right here in the city of Houston than in Atlanta. Okay? And in many, many ways, as one person told me, Houston is the new Atlanta, especially in the Southwest. I love Atlanta, beautiful place. Mayor Keisha Bottoms has done a wonderful job there, and I love her, respect her dearly. But I also want people to know that when it comes to investing, you need to come and take a look at the city of Houston. This is the most diverse city in the United States, and things are happening, positive things are happening in this city. And not just on Alameda, but we are trying to replicate this model in other parts of the city as well. On the north side, on the northeast area, there used to be on Jensen. Jensen, one point in time in northeast, was thriving.
Yep.
We're working to bring that back. The same thing with West Montgomery and Little York on the northwest side in Acres Home, my part of town, so to speak. We're working to bring it back. And so, want people to, sometimes corporate America, they get fixated on either one person or one city, and they assume that's where everybody, is.
Right.
But look, There are opportunities all over the country. And that's one of the messages that I'm trying to carry forward as now the president of African American Mayors Association. Look at the different cities around the country and invest in these cities, large and small, and you'll see the potential that can flow from it.
Let's talk about that. We talk about the Black Mayors Association. There was a name change. There was a reorganization.
Yeah.
That was a shift. And the thing that there's so much attention that's on Congress, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Right.
But what people don't understand, the ability of mayors and city councils to directly control dollars, to be able to create the economic opportunities, to transform neighborhoods and cities, that's really where the power is.
We're the engines. We're the engines of the state. We're the engine of the country. And mayors are front and center. We're on the front line. When it comes to minority women business opportunities, we are the ones that are dispersing those dollars. We are the ones that are helping to create entrepreneurs and expand their capacity, giving them the opportunities. When the monies are flowing directly, let's say from the federal level, directly to the cities, we are making sure that they get that, to go that last mile of the way. And oftentimes when the Fed, and I've said this to congresspersons, when you send money to the state, and then you expect it to come down, all the time it doesn't come down.
Especially, let's just go ahead and say it. And
like the state of Texas.
And you serve in the Texas legislature. The reality is where you have these states, where you have Republicans who are controlling these states, and look, the money is not coming to the cities. It's not
getting here.
And in fact, we see what's happening where in Austin, and the same thing happened in Georgia, where they pass a bill, first, which kills me, they love talking about local control and small government, but they want to pass a bill telling you how to spend your money when it comes to police department.
In the state
I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
I thought they believed in local control.
Only when they are in control. Okay? It's local only when they are in control. When they lose control, it's no longer state, it's no longer local control. It's the state trying to preempt local control.
And I'll say it, they're targeting also black-run cities.
And that is true. No, and I'll say it as well, because those are the realities. And you really have to speak truth to the situation. So I'm not trying to color code anything or be nuanced. In many of the cities that are being run by people of color, now people at the state level are doing everything they can to preempt, to control the flow of the dollars, to run your departments, run your police department, run my public works department, taking over our assets, and then trying to direct those dollars, back up to the state level, and trying to bankrupt. And then they take the position where you see what's happening. They don't know how to run their cities. Well,
right.
If you are controlling the flow of the dollars and trying to preempt and take over our ability to run our cities, then what do you expect to do?
In fact, the Republicans in Georgia, they have been They have been wanting to take over the control of the airport
for a long time
because I'll say the white folks in Georgia are still mad at Maynard Jackson for what he did, because using that airport became the economic engine that created economic opportunities for black folks, and they still are trying. And that's where I keep arguing, and I got people out there that always talking about, man, you keep talking about voting. I'm sitting here saying you can't talk about change our community, change our neighborhood, let's have economic development, let's redevelop if you don't control the policy.
And that is very true.
It ain't gonna happen.
It's a non secular. And Maynard Jackson is one of my role models, somebody who said, look, until you integrate the dollars, these planes are not moving off this. It's not going to happen.
He said tumbleweed will be rolling down the runways.
And then the change came about. And so mayors today are still looking at how Maynard Jackson ran Atlanta and the change that came about. And now, it's all happening on our watch, and we have the responsibility to do the same thing. And that is to make sure that the dollars that are flowing through our city are done so where it's fully integrated, where the diversity of our cities is reflected through the economic interest that's taking place in our city.
Last question for you,
sure.
And that is this here. You're dealing with voter suppression in this state, the whole battle. and there's somebody who's watching. They're like, okay, man, I hear all of that. Look into that camera there and talk to that brother or sister to explain to them why every time they vote in that school board, city council, county commission, state rep, state race matters, but also why you need to see them coming down to City Hall after the election.
Well, let me tell you, elections matter, and who you elect matters. If you are concerned about the murder of George Floyd and you don't want that repeated, just understand that the policymakers, the people who bring about the reforms, got there from the ballot box. And if you don't elect the right people there, don't expect the right policies to come from that. And if your vote did not matter, why would there be over 360 bills being filed in 47 states to restrict your right to vote, to deny your right to vote, to suppress your vote, to intimidate your vote, if your vote did not matter? What we do, for example, as mayors across the street, directly impact what takes place in your community, in your neighborhood, at your house. And so it's important for you, after you cast your vote, to vote in the elections, it's also important for you to show up at City Hall to lend your support. Look, the voting process is 24/7. It's not just one day or 2 weeks. It's 24/7, 365 days of the week. And if you want the change, you got to be the change that you want to see.
Man, Sylvester Turner, well-spoken.
Thanks,
my
man.
Alpha brother, my Church Without Walls church member.
Love you, man.
I appreciate it, sir. I was glad to be back home.
Look, I want you to stay here.
Well, I want to come back home. In fact, one of my colleagues, she was talking about y'all were trying to do some initiative utilizing tax incentives to do media stuff. And she called me and she said, Roland, they're trying to do that something. She said, what you think about it? I said, oh yeah, I'll think about it. I said I'll think about moving New Vision Media home.
We want you to stay. The goal, man, I've got 2.5 years to go, and we're gonna work all the way to the end. But the point is to create opportunities in this city that can benefit not only the people in this city, but quite frankly, even beyond this city. And it's not about being an incrementalist. And I tell anybody, if I wanted to be an incrementalist as a mayor, I may as well go home. You do a little bit and nobody sees the little bit that you do. This is an opportunity. This is a time when you have to be transformational in your leadership. You do have to be bold in your leadership, and you can't be afraid to speak the truth, no matter who it may offend.
All right. Keep swinging, my brother.
All right, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Good to see you.
All right. Hey,
Take
folks,
care.
got to go to commercial break. We come back. We're going to talk with Art Chang, who's running for mayor of New York City. We'll also talk about HBCU funding in Tennessee. They've been shorting Tennessee State nearly $500 million. We'll discuss it. We'll talk with the state rep there. Also, Marcus Cosby, pastor of Willow Avenue Baptist Church, who's doing some amazing things, keeping them in the hood. We're going to talk to him. Also, Cora Coleman, drummer for Beyonce and Prince. I'm going to chat with her as well as the brother who owns the Turkey Leg Hut. Y'all, we got a jam-packed show for you in the second half of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm here in my hometown. I'll be back in a moment.
The lonely, the alienated, the sad, and the angry. In every country torn by strife, violence, and hardship, men and women are drawn to extremist leaders, promising to take on the enemies of their people. In America, some of our lost souls respond in a similar way to the call of influential voices, but instead of militant preachers or radical clerics. Every single night in America, they can listen to our own angry advocates of division and conspiracy. Confused, angry people hear the call of these voices and take on the camouflage of warriors to threaten and even kill civilians. The radicalized Republican Party and the twisted people on TV who speak for them use the very same language of intolerance and rage to provoke those alienated people, actively pouring kerosene on the fire of social unrest. And until we all reject these poisonous voices, the result will inevitably be escalating violence and tragedy.
Black TV does matter, dang it. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jacob Lattimore, and you're now watching Roland Martin right now. Yee.
Y'all, that food looks absolutely fantastic. Trust me, they're gonna be bringing my my plate over in just a second here, and so I'm looking forward to having that smoked turkey. All right, folks, they're about to have a news conference with the mayor right here, but I'm going to be asking some questions. And so, control room, the way we're going to do this whole thing, y'all just simply, when I toss to the guest, just kill my audio. We talked to Mayor Sylvester Turner. Art Chang is trying to become the next mayor of New York City. We've already had a couple of candidates on. He joins us right now. Art, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. By the way, that turkey looks amazing.
First of all, but I can only come here one time when I come home because it destroys any meal plan that you are on. And so glad to have you here. Art, first and foremost, it's a huge group of people who are running for mayor of New York City. How do you break through?
Well, let's explain what the job of the mayor is. I mean, I think that's a really critical piece here that no one's really talking about. I mean, New York City is one of the most important places in the entire world. Its economy alone would put it in the top 15 of all countries if New York City were a country. The budget for the city is larger than all but 4 states. If New York City were a corporation, we'd be in the top 35 by budget, and we'd be in the top 15 by the number of employees. New York City is incredibly important. And so who do you want to actually manage this, right? Is it someone who actually knows city government? Yes, you do, and that would be me. Or state government, who has actually made change happen in government, but also somebody who can actually work across to the private sector, who has a long track record in the private sector and working in many areas that are important to the city, like technology, like education, and like, small business. And I think I'm very uniquely positioned among all those areas.
But again, now you're dealing with money, you're dealing with name ID, you're dealing with all of those different things that go into it. But also, y'all have ranked voting, and so that means that it's not always about getting that first vote; it's getting the other votes as well. And so, what is your strategy to build your way to victory that way?
Absolutely. So, my goal is not to be number one and solely number one, but to appeal to a broad group of people who are fed up with the way it has been. We have a few folks who are running who have been career politicians. We have a current mayor who is a great disappointment, who has been a career politician, so we see what happens with that. We have a number of really fine people who have spent their entire careers in government, so we'll see if that works. And then we have a couple people who spent their careers only in the private sector. We'll see if that works. So there's a chance here not to be the number one person, to be the big man, but to actually be the person who is ranked number 2 or 3 across as many RCV ballots as possible. And that's really the path to victory. And I think there's a very clear lane for me. Undecided New York City voters, depending on the poll, are from 25 to 50% of all voters, which say to me that they are dissatisfied with the current choices.
Last question for you, Art. Look, you got about 6 weeks. You got about 6 weeks. And so, how are you going to be pushing in these 6 weeks to get to as many sectors as possible? But specifically, what are you going to say to African American voters why you should be their pick?
Well, I'm obviously not African American. But the one thing I am is I have an unusual story. I was born in Jim Crow Atlanta in 1963 at a time when Asian immigration was illegal. I moved to Akron, Ohio, to an all-white school district where I felt racism on the street, and I grew up in a domestic violence household. I lived with the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement is what enabled Asians to become citizens in this country, to forge a path forward, to watch what happened, and to follow in the footsteps of great Black people, great Black leaders who practiced, peaceful disobedience, and protested and found political power and forged a path to make a difference, not just for themselves, but for everybody else. Because we know the civil rights movement didn't just enable Asians to immigrate to the U.S., the civil rights movement also paved the way for women's equality and gender equality. You know, it is a basis upon which equality is formed in this country. In my own experience, I've lived in New York City since 1985. I lived my entire time here in Brooklyn, for all but 2 years. And I am very, very familiar with all the communities that Black people live in the city. And I'm very familiar with hardship. I've been through that hardship with racism and violence, but I've also been through that hardship just in the life that I've had here in New York. You know, I know the feeling of not being able to pay the rent, of not having enough money for food, of losing everything and having to lift myself up off the ground. And that's what we have to do here over and over again. And I bring a unique set of tools from technology and business and tech and technology with the goal to restore equity for everybody. I'm the only candidate here who has actually started multiple small businesses in this city. And so when I know what the importance of economic growth and the connection to education is, you know, for everybody here in the city.
All right, Art Chang, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Good luck.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
All right, then. Thank you very much, sir. Folks, let's talk about HBCU funding. A committee in Tennessee has determined that there is massive underfunding of Tennessee State. We're talking about to the tunes of upwards of $500 million. They say that since the beginning, Tennessee State has not been properly funded by the state of Tennessee. This was an amazing story. And this is what they say. When Tennessee State was funded, it was a land-grant institution requiring the state to match the federal money sent to the school every year. But the state has failed to do so since the 1950s. A legislative committee estimated that Tennessee State has lost anywhere from $150 million to $544 million. That's $500 million. We, of course, you just recently had the out of Maryland, where the state allocated $500 plus million to the 4 HBCUs. The Mississippi case, which attorney Alvin Chambliss won, same thing. The funding that was to more than $200 million. But this shows you what is going on in these states, how Black folks have been shortchanged. Joining us right now is State Representative Harold Love of Nashville, Tennessee. Representative Love, how you doing?
Doing well, Brother Martin. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Man, what does that say? I mean, and I see here you've had Tennessee State trying to sit here and do the job, having to compete against the University of Tennessee and others, and here they are never being properly funded. This is an abomination.
Sure, and what I want the viewers to understand also is this. Not only did Tennessee State not get that $544 million, but every time that the state of Tennessee did not make that match, Tennessee State had to find the funds from reserve funds to make that match, which meant that Tennessee State could not properly maintain its buildings. Tennessee State could not properly provide scholarships for students. Tennessee State could not properly provide salary increases for its faculty. And Tennessee State could not properly put money into its endowment. So it's not just a loss of $544 million from the state, but also that $544 million came from Tennessee State having to do fundraising and put out of its reserves to make that match.
So what happens now? Will the state fix this problem?
Here's the blessing in this. Tennessee State is in my district. I'm a TSU graduate. My father was in the legislature from 1968 to 1994 and started this study in 1970. And so we really picked up where he left off. And now we have 2 more meetings of this committee that I'm chairing, which is going to allow us to put together a plan to get this $544 million to increase academic programs, to repair infrastructure that's been damaged, to provide money for scholarships for students, and also to look at increasing faculty pay. And so, Roland, this will really allow us to put together a 10-year plan. And that's why I really like what the state of Maryland did with the legislature, because they gave us a model for how to start this repayment process.
Well, I'll tell you, I have been covering these issues for a number of years. In fact, yesterday, and I will be more than happy to connect you with him. Yesterday at the rally we had for Pamela Turner in Baytown, Texas, Alvin Chambliss, the brother who led that successful lawsuit against the state of Mississippi, was there. And this, I mean, he is one of the foremost experts on HBCU funding. And so we certainly love to connect you because, look, this speaks to the fundamental problems our schools have been facing, which then impacts the education that they receive, but it also impacts the ability to be able to pay HBCU professors fair wages. It impacts tuition, impacts all of those things. And so this is a huge, huge deal that this committee in Tennessee has determined.
Yes, I would love for you to connect us because, to your point, there are at least 18 other land-grant HBCUs that are probably enduring the same problem where they have not had their state match. They've had to dig into their coffers to make the match for decades and are suffering, to your point, of not being able to pay salaries like they would like to, not being able to provide scholarships like they want to, not being able to properly fund their endowment. And so this is a collective effort, and I hope that our committee's work also becomes a model for other HBCU land grants to use, but certainly would love that contact with that gentleman so he and I can talk about ways that we can get this done very quickly.
Well, sir, I'm absolutely going to make that happen, and so we're certainly glad to have you here. If there's anything that we can do, simply let us know. I know Dr. Glenda Glover well. I was a commencement speaker at Tennessee State a couple of years ago, and, in fact, I think the students there have invited me to come back to the campus, and so I look forward to broadcasting Roland Martin Unfiltered from your district at Tennessee State real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this.
All right, thanks a bunch. All right, folks, let's talk about what's happening in Virginia. Thank you very much. The Republicans have put forward a black lieutenant governor who is one of the craziest folks you've ever seen. Y'all, watch this here. She recently went off against critical race theory. The problem is I don't think she even knows what the hell it is. Her name is, first of all, just roll a video. Do y'all have the video? Okay, all right, sorry, folks. I mean, first of all, here's someone who is just outlandish, who's just crazy, and she even took a photo, y'all, of her holding a gun, My wife sent the photo, Winsome Sears. Yeah, her name is Winsome Sears. And it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy, and it makes no sense at all. No sense at all, folks. Let me do this here. I'm going to go to a break right now, folks. The folks at the Turkey Leg Hut brought out this unbelievable. I want y'all to understand how they do it here. We are in Texas and how they do things big. This is their Alfredo sauce turkey leg here. What you will see here, folks, you'll see it's one of the most popular dishes. You see they have here, y'all, it with stuffed dirty rice as well in this turkey leg. My Lord have mercy, y'all. This is no joke. But that's how we roll. Y'all know I'm ready to eat some of this. But so we're gonna go to a break. We come back. We're gonna talk with the owner of Turkey Leg Hut when we come back about this monstrosity here. He gonna explain to me. Matter of fact, you know what? We're not gonna take a break. Go ahead, Lynn, sit down. Go ahead. Just take a seat. We ain't gonna take a break. We just gonna roll through it. That's how we do it. Good seeing you. Gonna take a seat right there. First of all, explain to the folks what we looking at.
There, man. A whole lot of love. We can't give you everything. There's a lot of people out here real smart and know how to cook.
So this is all right. So I see shrimp. I got the dirty rice.
Cajun rice.
I got the turkey leg.
Alfredo. Parmesan cheese.
Lord have mercy.
A whole lot of love, baby.
Tell everybody about Turkey Leg Hut. Your black-owned business here. How did this thing start? Where did this concept come from?
Me and my wife started out at the rodeo.
Hey, y'all, give me a plate, because I want
to lift that bone up for him.
I don't want
just grab the bone, the back end.
I don't want anybody to think I don't know how to eat.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, we started out at the rodeo. and we was out there shuttling cars, people back and forth. And it's crazy. I looked on the ground and saw a turkey leg and saw how it was so much meat left on the bone when they came back out. And everybody kept coming out saying they were hungry, they were starving, et cetera, et cetera. So me and my wife came together and put a few things together, and, you know, here we go. We're here.
When did y'all start this?
2015.
In 6 years, explain to the folks watching how this thing just has exploded. From here, additional restaurants, the food trucks, how folks all over the country come to Houston and trying to come here for one of these turkey legs.
They do. It's a blessing. You know, we pray. I tell people all the time, I pray 5 times a day with my eyes open. You know, people here at 5 in the morning, some people even sleeping in the line. It's crazy. You know, but, you know, I always say, Jehovah willing and consistency wins every time.
And we talk about those lines, folks, y'all need to understand, we are talking about lines. This is not always Friday night.
Yeah.
This every day.
Every day. Every day. We see about 25 to 30,000 people a week now.
25 to 30,000 a week.
A week.
Wow.
Even during COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of folks don't know your story. You shared it before. Share that with the folks who can understand.
Story?
Yeah, the real story. For the folks who understand, who say, man, I don't know if I can make stuff happen. I've had issues before. I may have gone to jail. I may have gone into trouble.
You know, I tell it all the time. I don't try to hide it. I'm an 8-time felon, man. You know, my wife held it down for me while I was gone. I went to the federal penitentiary for something that came up my past out the blue. While we was in the field, it came back and snuck up on me. Like I said, my wife was from Chicago. This is my backyard right here, man. Right here where George Floyd was. I live one street over from George Floyd on Isabella. Grew up in the streets, you know, met my wife, and we're here, you know, a strong backbone. You know, I always say a strong foundation. And she laid the foundation while I was in the feds. And I always say the analogy is when she picked me up in a sprinter, if you ever ran track, I said stick. I said I got it. And we're here now, you know, a lot of consistency, a lot of love on the daily. And I always say late night, early mornings, you know. Sometimes I'm here 17 hours a day, literally. A whole lot of arguments, you know, it comes with the line of work. You know, I'm not going to sit up and lie and say everything's pretty. You know, a whole lot of everything, it comes with it, but this is what you get.
And it hasn't been easy. Corey, do this here. Go ahead and just walk through. I want you to walk through. People are seated. Then walk through also the inside as well, because I want them to have a shot of this. Talk about the expansion, because, look, it started here, and then all of a sudden, growing and growing and growing and growing. Yeah. The mayor was talking about trying to deal with the parking issue along here. Y'all been having some battles here.
Look, even right there, DeAndre Hopkins passing by. You know, play for the Texans. You get all type of people.
Swing the camera around right there, Anthony.
You know, this is Third Ward. You know, we bringing it back. You know, you can't get this nowhere else in the world, man. I tell people, we're strong in numbers. You know, we've purchased 8 properties around here now. You know, and the first time you came on the initial of the smoke with the mesquite.
Right.
Now you back here. You know, we beat that. You know, but it's love.
For the folks who don't know what he's talking about, neighbors were suing them, saying there's too much smoke. We had y'all on the show. They were trying to shut y'all down. They were trying to run y'all. They did not like black folks
in a black area.
This is Detroit.
In a black area.
This ain't whatever that little name they have.
Yeah.
No, this is Third Ward, y'all.
Third Ward for real. And I tell people all the time, you know, this is my backyard. I didn't come over here trying to make something out of it by buying a property and all that. Now my wife and I have bought property now, but we've come over here just trying to get back to the community. And I think when you do right, it comes back to you.
Is this also inspiring other black entrepreneurs?
Most definitely, man.
Places, because I mean,
I'm not going to take nothing from Alameda, but I feel like Alameda was a little slow before we got over here.
I'll say it.
And we've brought it back to where I feel like I want to make it the Vegas strip of Third Ward. You know.
Absolutely. Well, look, it has been amazing. What's next? I know folks.
We have an ice house around the corner. First black-owned ice house.
Ice house.
Ice house. We'll have 30 different beers on tap. First black-owned ice house, man. Like I said, in front of D-Bar, right around the corner. We open about 20, 25 days, man.
Now I know folks have been trying to get Turkey Leg Hut franchises. I know they've been trying to blow you up.
Most definitely.
You looking at that?
No, we're doing pop-ups now. We did a pop-up in Fort Worth about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Did awesome. We're going to the Alamo Dome down in San Antonio about another 2 weeks. So we're just doing pop-ups now.
Okay. All right, my brother. Well, man, it's always good to
It's
see
all
you.
love, man.
You know, I always got to stop by when I come home.
I love to see you.
You know, but I can only come here one time when I come home.
You need to visit more often. It's your backyard.
But I can't eat more than one of these. It's one per visit. It's like when I come home.
One per customer.
When I come home, I can go to Whataburger one time, Shipley's one time.
And here
one time. Otherwise, I'm going home with an extra 10 pounds.
You ain't did nothing wrong.
And you dropped a lot of weight. Okay, how you lose all this weight?
Working.
That's 17 hours?
It'll get you stressing over these customers trying to skip.
Okay, well, I don't want that stress.
Yeah, good stress.
Man, baby, I appreciate it, man.
It's love, man.
Tell the wife I said what's up.
I will. She has a baby on the way. We have a baby boy on the way. That's what
man,
she is.
Congratulations.
We have a baby boy on the way, man.
Well, man, good luck with it. You, man, just keep handling your business. I love the success, and I just love what's happening down this court in my hometown.
All love. I appreciate you coming in, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
All right, baby.
Y'all, I'm going to eat some more of this. I'm going to go to a break real quick, and we're going to come back with Pastor Marcus Cosby right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered from Houston. Back in a moment.
Shortly after 9/11, America and its allies went to war in Afghanistan to defeat a terrorist stronghold. We accomplished that mission years ago. Trillions of dollars lost, over 2,000 Americans dead, countless Afghans dead. It's time to get out. Many presidents have tried to end the war in Afghanistan, but President Biden is actually going to do it. And by 9/11, over 20 years after the war was started, the last American soldier will depart, and America's longest war will be over. Promise made, promise kept.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett.
Yo, it's your man Dion Cole from Blackish, and you watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Stay woke.
This is the year of the woman. We are here. We are capable.
My optimism for our future has never been greater than now.
Black women are making a difference, making history, and changing the world.
Carl Payne pretended to be Roland Martin. Holla!
Hi, I'm Chaley Rose, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, y'all, we're here at Turkey Leg Hut. And then Dr. Brenda Banks is with me. He can sneak. Okay, let's do this here. Come right around here. Doc, you hold on right a second. We are live on Roland Martin Unfiltered. DeAndre, how you doing, my man?
Good. How y'all doing?
All good. I'm gonna have you hold it. You stay right. I'm gonna have you hold it here.
All right.
This is how we do the show.
I got you.
Stuff just happens. We pop in.
Yo.
Doc, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Just in Houston working out. I enjoy this restaurant right here, man. It's definitely one of my favorite restaurants in Houston.
Now, y'all know I was one of the folks who was, let's just say, I was quite vocal when he got traded. One of the greatest wide receivers in the NFL, period. Ain't even no debate. Don't stop tripping. But you play in Arizona, but you still love H-Town.
Oh, yeah. H-Town treated me like, it's treated me like its own since I've been here. I came when I was 20 years old when I came to H-Town. So I was just a little pup. It taught me a lot. Welcomed me with open arms, man. I'm from the South. I'm from South Carolina. So, H-Town always felt like home. And I think that's where I'm reside at, man.
Well, look, man, we love that. We love what you're doing. And also, not just what you're doing on the field, but you do a whole lot off the field, which is also critically important. And you have no problem, which I love also, speaking your mind when it comes to social issues.
Oh, yeah. My mom, she raised me to, be who I am and own that. We do a lot in the community, my mom and I. I think that, a lot of people don't know that. We don't vocalize it. We believe you do the Lord's work, in your own name, in your own time. But, vocalizing what position I have, I I think it'll help other kids, growing up, watching football 20 years from now, walk into something where they can be themselves and not have to fight against things that we have to fight against.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, anything that we can do Roland Martin in the future, we'll certainly support what you do.
Thank you.
Love your work, man. I appreciate it. Glad to have you drop in. You were just driving by, and Lynn snatched you out the car.
Yeah, man.
So I appreciate, man, you stopping by and just see us a little bit. And I'll be sure to make sure he sends you my information. So, man, hit me anytime you need anything.
For sure, love. Thank you.
My brother, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to hold it. This is how I love DeAndre. We're going to do this here. See, it's my show, so we can go ahead and take a selfie while we're here. Here we go. There we go. Get on this. Brenda, get on in here. All right, here we go. I appreciate it, my brother. Thanks so much. You take care. Y'all, of course, we're here. Of course, they got COVID-19 vaccine shots that they're giving here at Turkey Leg Hut. And you heard the CDC announce their changes come to the mask policy. And so my homegirl, Dr. Brenda Banks, she's an anesthesiologist here in Houston. She don't play when it comes to masks. She and I, we have all these conversations. And so I had to get your thoughts on this. So the CDC says, even though you've had the shot, you've been vaccinated, unless certain circumstances, don't need to wear the mask. You a doctor, what do you say?
I always err on the side of caution. As an anesthesiologist, I always have to think of the worst case scenario. So
are you telling me to put my mask on?
I'm saying we're outside. You got to weigh everything. We are outside. I'm vaccinated.
And then not people around
You're
me.
fully vaccinated.
I'm fully vaccinated.
So you got to use some common sense and say, okay, I think I'll be all right right now.
I got it.
Yeah. I think you're okay without the mask right now. But in general, we still got to be smart. Think about where we are, who we're around. Right now, you only have, 35% of the U.S. population fully vaccinated? So there's people out here walking around who are not fully vaccinated. So I'm going to still keep my mask on.
And the problem is you don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. So I'm going to be safe. That's just me. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay. But so what you're saying is that, so in a situation like this here, even though we're outside, folks are away, then it's not all crowded or whatever. And then again, when the mayor was sitting here, I know that he's vaccinated. I know DeAndre is vaccinated.
Yes.
So you know that.
Yes.
So in this situation, you're cool. But if we was if we're sitting over there and it's jam-packed in there.
I don't know who's vaccinated.
Right. So
I don't know who's breathing on me.
If you're not eating, put that mask on.
I say be safe. Why play with your health? Why play with it? It's not worth it.
All right. I appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Thanks so much. Y'all, she was not supposed to be on the show. I just said, get on over here, and we're going to say a few words with you. And so, yes, you can go. Yes, Doc, you're dismissed. You can go. All right, I'm going to talk with Pastor Marcus Cosby, y'all. He's my alpha brother. He's also the senior pastor of Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church that's here in Houston, Texas, here in the 3rd Ward in the Trey. They have always been involved. Pastor Bill Lawson, longtime pastor of the church there, the leader of that church. This is who he passed the legacy on, and he is continuing that legacy. Frank, glad to see you. Oh, hold on. Give you a microphone here. It's my bad. Give that here.
Good to see you. Good to be with you.
Absolutely.
Glad to have you home.
The Trey, the 3rd Ward, is changing. The 3rd Ward is changing so much. Yeah. But unlike a lot of other folks who decided that, we're going to sit here and leave and take off, Wheeler Avenue said, no, we're going to stay right here in 3rd Ward, right there at Wheeler and Scott. Oh, yeah. You haven't moved. In fact, Henry, go to the drone here. I shot this earlier so folks can see. Y'all, they've expanded. Those of you who come to Houston, y'all know on that corner right there, that's where the original French's used to be. But Wheeler always owned that land. They moved down the street, building a new facility. And then y'all have expanded. The video is about 2 minutes, so let it roll. Tell us about what y'all are doing to stay in 3rd Ward, stay in this community, to keep folks motivated and also driving the issues here in Houston.
Yeah. Well, thanks for allowing me to come through and share with you, Roland. It's a joy to see you, of course. But Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, as of next month, the 1st of June, will be 59 years old. Our church was started on the campus of Texas Southern University. My predecessor, our founding pastor, Pastor Lawson, was working at Texas Southern at the time, and he decided based upon some of the information he had received from citizens in this community, that we needed to have a church here. And so he began that church right there in his living room with 13 people. And so for these 59 years, we've been trying to be a community-based congregation that allows people to know that we have the community in our hearts. We want the best for the community. We want to ensure that there is progress and productivity in the inner city of Houston, Texas. And so we're committed to the inner city, and we're not going to allow anything to shift that. And so even though we're building to expand on what we have become over these last years, we're right here in the hood, and we're going to stay here.
Here we go back to the drone shot. Go full screen. Y'all, to the left you're seeing right there, that is Texas Southern University.
Yeah.
I want y'all to understand what you're seeing. To the right there, that's my high school.
Yep,
Jack Yates High School. Okay? You see the city of downtown. It's only 10 minutes from the campus. And just let it keep going to the right. You'll see, you're going to swing it all the way. I'm going to swing it all the way around the drone. You see, that's Yates High School. Then you're about to see the University of Houston. And then we're going to come back to where Wheeler Avenue is. So where y'all are seated, I mean, you're sitting, boom, Jack Yates right there, TSU to your left, University of Houston right across the street. And so that gives y'all a powerful opportunity to be able to impact this community education-wise.
Absolutely. And we've been committed to all three of those institutions, especially more so to Jack Yates and Texas Southern. But we have a very good partnership and connection with the University of Houston. It has been that way for these 59 years, and we plan for it to continue to be that way. And let's not forget, CUNY Homes is right down the street as well. And, of course, we know that George Floyd was reared in the CUNY Homes, and our commitment has been to CUNY Homes as well. So we love being in the community. It's a unique, diverse community. And we love that diversity. Our church is likewise a unique and diverse church. And so we try to maintain that kind of connectivity with those who are around us.
And when we talk about gentrification, we talk about how these neighborhoods are changing. Third Ward was changing. And there were folks who weren't black who were moving in. All of a sudden, prices were going up. But a lot of black folks here said, no. We're going to maintain this, and we're going to be owning the land. And there are a number of other churches and the folks who made it clear, because I keep saying this, if we know the land's available, why are we complaining about others buying the property when we should be buying the property?
Absolutely. Well, my predecessor has been committed to community development for all the years that he has been in Houston, Texas. And so we made sure that we take the land that we have, the land that is available to us, and we do something with it that will profit the community. So we've been trying to do that for these years, and we are ensuring that all the kinds of organizations and community partners that we have will likewise take care of our community. We need it, and we need it to be well taken care of.
So speak to some other pastors out there or people who go to churches, and again, because I hear all the time, black folks, man, we got to own our own, and folks are talking, but when I did the National Urban League, State of Black America, they were talking about gentrification. And I literally said, Mark, I'm tired of talking about this here. I said, when we come back next year, the National Urban League should create a multi-million-dollar fund to go into our neighborhoods and buy up properties. And that to me is how churches should also be leveraging their resources to understand that let's not become isolated and other folks buying stuff up in our neighborhoods. We can control the land and everything where we live. We can control our dollars.
And the way life is rolling now, we have enough black entrepreneurs who can use the land for profitable means in our communities. And so it is necessary for us to remember that we have people that we need to be developing, cultivating, to use the properties that we have in this community to ensure that our communities thrive. And we can do that, and we must do that if we're going to continue to maintain what is our community.
Last question for you. COVID has absolutely changed how churches are now doing business. It's forced a whole lot of folk who are fighting technology to now accept it. Even so now with the CDC mask guidelines, with places opening up, how is that changing how y'all do church? Are you letting folks know we can't go back the way it used to be? So what is happening with Wheeler Avenue and how y'all are progressing now with COVID people being vaccinated and people all of a sudden opening cities back up.
So we, like most churches, have not been together since March of 2020. We've not been able to congregate. We did a special outdoor service for Easter Resurrection Sunday, but we've not been able to congregate in our own property, in our own facility. So we've had to adjust. We've had to accommodate this new reality. I've been calling it a new abnormal, but it is not our new norm. We're going to be able to create a new normal that should build on what we've had to and what we've endured and experienced over these last several months, this past year. So it's interesting that you would say that. I said to our church just this weekend, listen, we got to make sure that we understand there's certain things we can't go back to. It's not possible for us to go back to the way we've always been because we've been called from it, and we know we can operate on another level. We can operate in a new experience, a new paradigm, and the trajectory of the church should be moving forward as we utilize all the technology and all that we've had to learn since March of last year.
I talked to some pastors, and they've had an explosion in membership because folks have been watching and an increase in giving.
Absolutely. We can't say we've struggled over this year. We've done very well as a congregation. We've had people join, and the unique thing is we now call them Wheeler Wherever. So we have people joining from other states, even from other countries.
Wow.
And we're just including them in the family. It's a church that is now a technologically savvy church that allows us to appreciate membership from everywhere.
And so tell me about this expansion. I'm going to roll a video again.
Yeah.
Tell me about this expansion and what it's going to allow you to do in the community.
So many years ago, we recognized that our church was growing. It was growing fairly exponentially and fairly quickly. And so what we decided was we needed to have a space where we could properly accommodate everybody. We've been doing 4 services for over 10 years, and we knew that wasn't
so
something we
folks
could
who are
do.
watching, you're about to see, so what was in the front there is what was built was new. What you're about to see on top, where that's that cross right there, that was the previous worship center. But you also were limited because you have a school as well.
Right. And so our school helps to develop the minds of our children. We have the Wheeler Avenue Christian Academy, and we want to expand that even more. We want to make sure that we can take children from the cradle to college. And so we've got a lot of things that we're trying to do over these next several years while I'm trying to serve the church. And we want to make sure that we can develop the minds of children and young people as they're becoming what they're supposed to become. So we got a lot of work to do, and we're going to try to use this property to do that and make sure that whatever people need in our community, they know that they have access to it at Wheeler Avenue. We've always been the community church. We've tried to be at least, and that's our plan going forward as well.
All right, Frat. It's always good to see you, man. Keep
man.
handling your business.
Glad you're here, bud.
I certainly appreciate it. Thanks so
my
very
pleasure.
much.
Good to be with you.
Absolutely. Tell Pastor Lawson I said what's up.
You know I will. All right.
Folks, got to go to a real quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to the sister. Y'all have heard her. She played drums for Prince. She plays drums for Beyonce. She's next right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
1955 is the first time in a very violent civilization, Western civilization, any sizable group of people started to work to change by insisting we can use nonviolence power to create the change. Gandhi said that nonviolent power, the power of life, is the greatest and most creative force power of the universe. And that if we human beings turn away from conventional wisdom towards using the gift of life, which is ours at birth, we would be surprised what the future of the human race will look like.
Carl Payne pretended to be Roland Martin. Holla!
Hi, I'm Chaley Rose, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett.
Yo, it's your man Deion Cole from Blackish, and you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Stay woke.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett.
This is the Alfredo, smoked turkey leg, Alfredo, dirty rice, Parmesan, shrimp. Girl, I'm just trying to say, it's good, y'all. I'm just trying to tell y'all, I know I'm on. I'm just trying to tell y'all, this is like sinful good. I'm just trying to tell y'all. Okay. So my next guest, as I said, y'all have heard her. Mama said don't talk with your food in your mouth, but I ain't got no choice. So my next guest, y'all have heard her. You might have seen her. She ain't front stage, but if anybody understands music, you can't keep the beat without the drummer. She has played for Prince, played for Beyonce. Queen Cora Coleman joins us. Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm amazing. You know, in the hometown.
Of course. The folks don't realize that. You from the H-Town?
I'm from the H. Cashmere Valedictorian, you know, the near middle school.
Y'all see her flexing, Cashmere Valedictorian, you know. I
got to represent all the way, Roland.
She didn't just say what she went to school. She's like, yeah, Cashmere Valedictorian. Just want to let y'all know that.
It's only one, you know.
She's like, we want to let y'all know that. So it's all good?
It's all good.
Let's talk about, I was just talking to Pastor Cosby.
Yeah.
COVID. I mean, COVID has been a beast.
Yeah.
For musicians because you ever had concerts, folks.
Yeah.
So how's your life been the last 12, 14 months?
It's interesting. I am also a businesswoman beyond the drums. So I own a construction company here in Houston. And I take shipping containers. I make offices and houses. So in that realm, in that industry, I've been active. I have an orchestra, so it's given me time to do original compositions. And I mean, I did the Billboard Awards with En Vogue, so I've still been, gigging. We did the Urban One Honor Award, that airs Sunday. So I'm still moving about the cabin. I'm still traveling. I'm not doing international travel as extensively as I normally would.
Right.
But I mean, the industry is definitely impacted, but I've been able to stay active. You know.
Talk about. Being, and I said that earlier, I talked about, and people think I'm joking, but I'm not. Yeah. The reality is, in music, the drummer is the key to the band.
Yeah.
James Brown talked about
yes,
that.
Indeed.
Hell, James Brown had two drummers.
Yes.
But you know you bad when you got two drummers.
Yes.
You like, no, I ain't got one. I got two.
Just in case.
You know, that, and so talk about that, your involvement in music and also and playing for so many different artists and what all of that means and what it entails. Just speak to that.
It's definitely discipline, to understand a genre and understand an artist and embrace what they're hearing and not just, insert myself exclusively.
And see, for y'all who watching, everybody keeps seeing Prince, but that's her in the right corner. See, So she handling the business because y'all gotta understand when that was going on, when that was going on, y'all, the Super Bowl was going on, and they showed Corey just hair just flopping. In the rain and all this sort of stuff. I'm sending a text. Go ahead and get it, Corey. Go ahead and get it. I'm like, she gonna look at it when she get off stage.
Right. And what's cool is I actually make Super Bowl history because I did the Super Bowl with Beyonce in 2013.
Wow.
So that's top 10 Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah.
Been able to grace the stage. Different artists, different music, different way they hear music. So to be able to adjust, I have a classical background. I play jazz. I played with Maceo Parker on two of his albums. And, so it's being able to hear it and adjust and read music. I read music.
Well, I got to ask you, which halftime show was better?
Roland. I'm going to say, I can't say better, but I'll say Prince, 7 people.
Which was more iconic?
I'm going to say Prince. And
okay.
I'm going to say because he could choose anybody in the world. And there were 7 of us on the stage, and I got to be the one of the 7 in the world. His first Super Bowl, his largest audience, of course mine. So I would say for that reason.
Well, I will also say I love the Beyonce halftime show.
Yeah.
Prince had the FAMU band.
Yes.
It was in the rain.
Yes, all of that.
Then he dropped Purple Rain.
Of course.
I mean, so it was a whole lot of other stuff that was happening. I think that adds to the greatness of that.
I say this because I'm an HBCU alum. I'm a Howard alum. So to be on the 50-yard line, and you dream, you say, man, in college, I want to sign someday my autograph will matter, all of that. So to sit on the 50-yard line, see the band, be a part of that experience, and then say, wow, this is full circle. This is amazing.
Now, were you also part of the Homecoming with Beyonce?
Not Homecoming, but I did 2013 Mrs. Carter tour, all of that. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Do artists just say, "Yo, Cora, I want you to play with me," or do they make you try out? Do you got to send a tape? I mean, how does it work?
So for me, I won the guitarist and the drum off. So I've won a Jeep in a drum competition, and I have just had a reputation. Prince came to hear me and said, "Let me give you a drum set, whatever you want." I was playing with Frank McCone in L.A. After that, I played with Prince for 5.5 years and then just decided to take a step back and then got a call. Hey, B wants to know if you're interested. That 3 years, band leader. Of course, I do the Black Girls Rock Awards, so that I played with Jill and Erica, India, the list. And so now it's just reputation.
Right.
So
basically what you're saying is, no, I don't try out.
I've never auditioned.
I remember Robert Glasper, that happened. I think with Lauryn Hill was supposed to hit him up and ask him, and he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't try out.
Right.
And he was like, I don't try out.
I've never auditioned. I play with Pink. I mean, it's just been, my reputation has preceded me.
Is there any particular musical genre that is your absolute favorite? Because again, as a drummer, you just said it. Whether it's R&B, whether it's pop, whether it's jazz. I mean, you played with all types of artists.
Sure. Well, I mean, what feels good in the soul is the funk. I can't go wrong with the funk. But I have an orchestra, so I hear classical, and I played mallet, percussion, and timpani, marimba. So there's that too, which is African centered too. So
let's talk about the Queen Cora Orchestra. Henry, go to my iPad, please. This is you're going to be performing here. First of all, Fresno, Texas. That's actually
15 minutes,
suburb of Houston, not far at all. You and Shantae Moore and some other artists. So now, is this your first post-COVID show, or
no? I've done some other shows, but this is actually my first international music and art festival. So I'm putting this whole festival on.
Oh, the whole festival.
Yeah.
Oh, all
so
right.
it's a 2-day festival.
Okay.
7 pavilions: film, art, music, business. I mean, we're gonna have horseback riding, bull riding, all sorts of things. Family event, community event. And Shantae will be here. Moo Fresh will be here. It's a whole.
So you're doing around July 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
And normally around that time, folks are at Essence.
Yes.
And so, do you plan to keep it around that date, or do you plan to, let's say when that comes back, let's say shift it to another weekend?
I'd shift it to another weekend.
Got it.
But because Essence isn't
happening.
happening.
The only reason I'm asking, because so I can, because I'm always at Essence.
Listen.
But I'm trying to figure out how I can.
I need you to come through.
See,
I need you to come through.
That's why I was asking.
This is an official invitation.
That's why I was asking.
To my homeboy Roland Martin to come through the International Royal Music and Art Festival.
Okay.
So I'll change the date when they come back.
Okay, I got you. So you're going to have pavilions. You're going to have health. I'm just reading the whole deal here.
Yeah, come on.
And I do, first, I have not ridden a horse in years, and I've been, I got to do that. And I love horseback riding. I just haven't had enough time to do it. But what made you want to do this festival?
Because we need it. The industry needs it. We need an outlet. The community needs to safely come out. It's a 32-acre ranch. Black-owned ranch.
Oh,
and we need to be able to.
We got space.
We got space, and people just want to feel comfortable.
Got it.
And that's what this is about. People need to feel comfortable.
Socially distanced.
Absolutely.
A whole creation. Okay, cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So when the artists come in, including you, there's a donkey-drawn carriage that'll bring you around to the main stage. We're going to practice that. We're going to support and respect that so people can feel safe and be healthy and then have a good time.
All right. Well, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you ain't changed your number. I hit up like, Cora, this still you? And then she's like, who this? I'm like, Well, damn, I hope they still core
So you
number.
send the photo. I was like,
Right. I sent the photo. I was kind of like, all right, damn. All right, this still you. I'm like, you didn't like download your numbers right?
I got another
I
iPhone.
thought I was going to send her a DM on Twitter, Instagram, like, hey,
right.
You changed your number. Well, I appreciate
Hilarious.
it.
My pleasure.
It's always good to see you. Normally, I'm
Definitely.
seeing you backstage.
Yeah.
It's always a real quick, hey.
Yeah.
So opportunity to sit and chat. I
Good to
still
see
appreciate
you.
it. So
Definitely.
you're looking good.
Thank you.
Eclectic. We got the earrings.
You know.
And
Gotta represent.
And let me tell y'all, she like me. She would down with the content. Y'all might be thinking, no, that's not like a pocket square. Nothing. She got a microphone because she got a photographer over here who's shooting her stuff as well. So,
I'm an archivist.
I'm
an archivist.
I understand. Look, I'm all about content.
Yeah,
so,
I know you are.
So
The king.
I feel you.
The king.
Hey, we just do what we do. Hey, y'all, go ahead and take another shot. July 3rd through 4th. Again, Queen Cora's the International Royal Music and Art Festival taking place in Fresno, Texas.
Yeah.
For more information, go to www.theroyalfestival.com. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Roland.
All
Peace.
right. Folks, that is it for us. We are here at the Turkey Leg Hut. Man, I am always glad to be home to see my Pete, my brother, my niece, his wife. They're in there. I got friends in there. I'm about to go finish off this food because this is too good. Anthony, go ahead and take a shot of this. Get this, y'all. Look, the smoked turkey legs here are just straight sinful. So y'all come to H-Town, definitely come on by to see Lynn and the kid. They're doing a great job here. And again, folks, we want to thank all of y'all. We want to thank y'all for supporting what we do. We have been here since Wednesday. We were covering the Pamela Turner rally in Baytown, Texas, with Attorney Ben Crump, Until Freedom, Attorney Monique Presley, and others. And so, folks, we appreciate it. Man, y'all, I want to give a shout out to my Jack Yates High School. We did the scholarship on Wednesday to a couple of the students are there. So, Principal Guillory, Superintendent Lathan, thank you so much as well. So, I always got to represent JY here in the trade. And so shout out to all of my peeps. Don't forget, y'all, Sunday, Urban One Honors. Corey playing drums in the band. I'm going to be, of course, co-hosting with Erica Campbell, 9 p.m. Eastern. Y'all want to check that out, Saluting Black Women. I'll be live tweeting it as well because I haven't actually seen it. All right, we shot it a little bit differently, so I'll be watching it with y'all as well. So looking forward to that. Y'all, please support what we do by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give goes to support the show. Allows us to be able to broadcast remotely across the country. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. Venmo.com/RM Unfiltered. PayPal.me/R Martin Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing, average of $50 each. And so you folks have given less, some have given more. And so please do your part to make it possible. We always end the show every Friday. First of all, let me do this here. On a sad note, our condolences go out to Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. Her husband passed away today, this morning. And so our hearts go out to Otto Beatty, a former state rep there in Ohio. I sent my condolences to Congresswoman directly. And so we just want to say our thoughts and prayers with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, who is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. And so certainly condolences go out to her. Folks, we always end the show showing our Bring the Funk fan club members. That's how we do it. Let me shout out my man Corey, Anthony. Thanks to all the work we've done here. The two of us been rolling, doing what we do. Yeah, I'm live. You just roll up and just like, brother just talking. So you right. Ain't got that. Oh, well, we'll get a picture after I close the show. Y'all. That's how we going to end this thing. I'm going to see y'all on Monday. I'll be back in town. Y'all have an absolutely fabulous weekend. If you're not getting vaccinated, get your shot so we can stay safe. And wear your damn mask because we ain't trying to get sick. Y'all know how I always end the show. H-Town, I love y'all.